You were part of the protest that was taking place across the UK yesterday in response to the cost of living crisis. Can you tell me why you sort of felt passionate about organising the rally in Nottingham?
Yes, I think the cost of living crisis comes after 10 years, in fact, more than 10 years of stagnant wages after the banking crisis in 2008. And, I think people will not be able to handle that sort of drop in income. And, we need to do something about it. I know that most protests don't lead to immediate change, but there are some fine examples, both in Britain and abroad, where protest has led to significant change. And the question is, what do you do about it? If the choice is between protest and nothing, then I think it is worth trying to protest.
Well, I'm going to say, Stewart, though, I want to ask you, so with regard to that, then, what would you have liked to have happened at that protest if you were to get the response? What response would you have liked to have seen?
Well, I think there are two sort of concrete things that we would like. The first is a windfall tax on the profits of energy companies. Their profits have soared since the rise in gas prices. That wasn't anything to do with the ability of the directors or a plan to increase profits. That was an act of God that led to super profits. We have in Britain the ability to impose a windfall tax, and that's what we should do. The second thing I think is that we need to have to retain the cap on energy prices where it is. I mean, we went through the 2008 banking crisis and we saw how much money the government was able to find down the back of the sofa to bail out the banks, which we were then told we had to pay back through 10 years of austerity. So I'm not sure why, when we, the people, are in crisis, the banks aren't expected to pay back the money that we gave to them to dig them out of a crisis of their own creation. I mean, we live in a country where we are constantly told there's no money until the banking crisis comes, and then suddenly there's £700 billion available to bail these people out.
Yeah, it's true. But if you were to I was thinking I would ask them to get some of that money that they've given out to people where it's been fraudulently done. But that's what I'd like to do. But Peter, I'm going to move on.
No, absolutely. I mean, I'm glad you raised that. I wasn't sure if it was appropriate, but, the massive fraud has gone on during the COVID crisis.
Yeah, we've been robbed. Now, Peter, I want to move on to you. I mean, you were in the centre of the protests in Paris yesterday. Can you set the scene for us and sort of give us a reason what they were saying and why you're so passionate about the subject?
Well, effectively, it was a very simple protest. It was copying the Canadians, and it involved freedom convoys. It involved people driving up from the south, from Nice, from the west, from Brest, from the east, from Dijon. And the idea was to get into Paris and complain about the coronavirus restrictions. That's the simple explanation, but of course life is normally much more complicated than that. And it in fact involved lots and lots of other people who opposed Emmanuel Macron's government per se. And a lot of them weren't that bothered about the coronavirus restrictions. They're much more angry about the way France is being run at the moment. There's a presidential election coming up in April. And they wanted to show their feelings on the street, which is a very, very French thing to do. The French Republic is built on protest effectively, and it works here in France. It really does.